Today I'm joined by an absolute legend of the county game, a real character, one of the last great characters of county cricket. He was born in 1947, grew up around Manningtree. He took 1,019 wickets at just over 25. He claimed 5 wickets 49 times and took 10 wickets in an innings 10 times, scored over 7,000 runs and took just the 1 century. It is the great Ray East. Hello, Ray.
Hi, Don. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. It's great to see you. Your journey started as a young man. Come on, pray tell, where?
Well, country boy, as you know, Don, from East Bergholt. I used to travel with my dad and my uncles to watch East Bergholt play. We turned up at one match with only 10 players. And my dad said, I'm age 11, he said, you'll have to play, Ray. So I went into bat, Don, with a score, East Bergholt 10 for 9. And this quick bowler had terrified all of our batsmen. And I got to face him. And I am terrified, obviously. And he's steaming in. And fortunately for me, Uncle Reg was at the non-striker's end, stuck out his bat and said, you're not going to bowl that quick at my son, my nephew. So he didn't, but he did bowl me out. So we were all out for 10, I think it was. So it was East Bergholt. And then I went to Brantham, and a chap called Peter Smith, PB Smith, plays for England in Essex. He used to bring a team down, saw me bowling and said, I can fix a trial up with you.
What age was this?
I was 17.
Were you?
And I got a trial. It was a long journey for us. My father came with me.
From the Suffolk border?
Yes, from the Suffolk border. So that was a bus to Manningtree Station, British Railway to Liverpool Street, back on the Central Line to Fairlop, the old Blues ground.
Oh, right.
Had to walk from Fairlop. Absolutely shattered. Get there. Go to the changing rooms to change. And I went into the first room I saw where it said first 11, and I was told to get out of there. Went to the second 11 dressing room, they said get out of there, so I changed in the toilet. I was looking for somebody to welcome me, because Trevor Bailey was the captain. So I walked out and I had a specially knitted, cabled sweater, like a fisherman's sweater my mum had knitted for me. I had canvas boots, tight white sort of jeans on. And I walked out to the nets and I'm standing there and they must have all thought, who is this chap? He's come to the wrong venue. So suddenly Trevor Bailey looked up. He said, oh, hello, are you Ray East? I said, yes, I am. I'm Ray East, Mr. Bailey, yeah. Right, just join in there, have a bowl in the nets there. That's right. So, and it seemed to be a thing with trialists that the pros just wanted to whack you out of the net. And they kept hitting me all. I got flipping bowl, but they kept hitting me further and further. My dad was running around trying to catch him. He was, after half an hour, he was absolutely shattered. He had to sit down. So I bowled for about an hour and they said, thank you very much, Ray. We'll be in touch.
And were they?
No.
Oh, really?
No. Eventually, the next summer, April, May time, I got a letter to say, would I play in the second 11 game, 1965 this was, at Dagenham Cables. And I played 3 games, got a few wickets, and I played the first class game against Oxford University, 1965.
As a trial?
As a trial. And my dad came with me, once again, great supporter, and the great man wouldn't let me into the ground. I tried. Seriously, it was difficult to get into the ground. But I got in and I got 3 wickets in that game, and with Essex reducing their playing strength.
Well, there weren't many on the staff.
In 66, there was only 10 pros and Ackers.
Yeah.
You know, the Ackers, the amateur.
Yes.
And that was it, and made up of the odd club player if we were short.
Really?
So, and that was a tremendous advantage to me. You know, if you think back now, Don.
Because I had to play. Opportunity.
I had to play, and and you learnt as you went along. You learnt. And
who was the spinner at the time? Obviously, Ackers was about, but
Ackers was about, but the spinners had just Paddy Phelan, who bowled off spin,
right,
had just been released.
Yeah. So
basically, there was Ackers, myself, and of course Robin Hobbs.
Yeah, 3 cracking spin bowlers. Just going back though to your youth, were you always a spinner from the year dot, or did you bowl fast and nasty?
At the age of 11, East Bergholt Secondary Modern School, I was quick. I used to run in from about 20 yards, and because for a secondary bowling school we had our own square. It wasn't the greatest, but it was a square, and they all used to bounce, and I loved bouncing them. But I found out that was a lot of hard work running in like that. So I started to love it up a bit, yeah.
So you joined the Essex staff
Yeah.
with a small staff, 3 spinners on there.
Yeah.
Your first captain, Trevor Bailey, I think you said.
Yes.
How long were you around with him and before Tonka Taylor took over?
2 years with Trevor. Injuries he was never fit really, although he carried on. So I had 2 years with Trevor, and funnily enough, my first game was at Warwickshire, and it was rain affected, and unbeknown to me, we were going to bowl for a declaration. I didn't realise that until I came on to bowl. And I'm bowling at MJK Smith, who was then captain of England, captain of Warwickshire, and I had the regulation field, left arm spinner, a slip, 5 covers, 3 on the leg side. And Mike Smith was one of the best players of the slog over mid-wicket. And he did it 3 balls in a row. And Trevor was at mid-off, and I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Bailey, could I have another one on the leg side, please?" So he said, "I'll set your field ready, you just carry on bowling." Well, of course I did. And I gave him enough runs to
And he kept whacking you over
He kept whacking me.
square leg?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You talked about your early career. The disciplinarian of maybe Tonka Taylor was quite influential with the Essex family.
He, at the time, Toppers, to be honest, at 20 years of age, I'm a professional cricketer now, I know all about it. But thankfully, Brian was there to sort us out. I mean, if Brian said jump, you jumped. And I'm sure if you ask John Lever, Stewie Turner, all those boys that played under him, he was a wonderful, wonderful man and a great Essex man. I mean, he used to go to dinners in the winter, unpaid. He used to go to 100. He really put Essex on the map. And sometimes I don't think he got the benefit that he should have done and the recognition.
Tell me about Trevor Bailey and Tonka Taylor, and of course later on it was Keith Fletcher. How the three were so different in their captaincy skills?
Well, they obviously were different characters to start with. Trevor, very experienced, England international, played for many years, had been captain of the university. It's an interesting story actually with Trevor, because I played in '66 against the West Indies. And when I went into bat, this chap I'd seen on the television was about to bowl to me, number 11. I got a towel for a thigh pad, and of course it was Wes Hall.
Wow!
And he's, the chain is going. He's steaming in to bowl at me. I got my eyes closed. It hit me on the towel. I thought my leg would drop off. It was the end of the over, thank God. And Trevor was on 48, batting the other end. And he said, "Well done, Ray." He said, he's quite quick, but he's straight. He said, you could probably fend him off, but leave it to me. So bowling at the other end was a chap called Branco. I'll never forget him. He bowled lobs, left-hand lobs. And Trevor blocked 2, and then he creamed him through the colours for 450, raised his bat, and I thought, now we'll look for the single. He blocked the next 3 balls.
And left you to face.
Left me to face Wes again. And needless to say, second ball, the lot went out of the ground.
Really?
But imagine literally playing club cricket
for Eastburg or whoever.
Yeah. And there I am facing this chap I've seen on the television when I used to hide behind the sofa watching him bowl. I thought he was that quick.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
And then you went on, the later part of your career was Keith Fletcher.
Yeah. Keith was a fantastic captain. Growing up with him, we knew him well, he knew us well, he gave you so much confidence. As a tactician, there wasn't a better one. There's no doubt about that in the cricket I played. Attacking captain, wanted to win games. Drawing or losing games didn't come into his mindset. I think when we won the championship in '79, I think if you look at our record, we won, about 12 or 13 games and lost about 7, because he was always prepared to give the fielding side a chance to win the game. And that way they made sure that they go all the way.
Well, it's interesting you say, and that philosophy. If you win 8 in a 24-match season, if you win 8, lose 8, draw 8, you come nowhere.
Yeah.
If you lose 12 but win 12,
Yeah.
you win the championship.
Yeah. And it was interesting. I think it was Yorkshire probably drew about 15 in their games or something like that, which was unusual because in the early days, Yorkshire were obviously the top side, and they played the game with attacking spirit.
When you play at the HQ or the county grounds, the main grounds, is it sometimes not a disadvantage, but is it perhaps an advantage that Essex play quite a bit of festival cricket?
I think so. When in the early 60s, Essex bowled seam up, didn't they? They had Barry Knight, of course, great bowler, Ken Preston, 1,000 wickets to Essex, Trevor himself, Roy Ralph. I mean, they were made up of seamers with a leg spinner called Greensmith. And basically that's what happened. The grass was quite thick, and they bowled seamers. And it was a sort of a revelation, a complete turnaround when suddenly we're playing 3 spinners at a time. And the thing about festival grounds, you didn't really know what type of wicket you were going to get. I mean, we played at Westcliff one year and the seamers took all the wickets. The following year, Derek Underwood got 19 wickets in the match.
Wow, did he
And
really?
the only person, he didn't get out. Who was that?
You, Raymond.
It was R. East, stumped, not bowled Dixon. I thought, he's not having 20 wickets. I ran down the wicket and a slog. That's true. Sorry,
Really?
Derek, but that was true.
Yeah. He was a quality bowler, wasn't he? And he probably played the Test cricket, was the left armour during most of your career?
Yeah, he was. He was. I mean, he had this reputation of being a wet wicket bowler or a bad wicket bowler, which he was fantastic. But he was still a great bowler on good wickets. I mean, I think he got 290 Test wickets, something like that.
Yeah.
And he obviously, I was never going to oust him. So.
Well, in your era, there was a lot of good cricketers, left armers, who went on to play for England. I mean, I just looked at it. You've got Underwood, Phil Edmonds, Norman Gifford, Nick Cook, Peter Sainsbury, Fred Swarbrick, Phil Carrick. You've got Hughes and Lloyd at Lancashire, Don Wilson, Graveney, Peter Walker, Board, Dilip Doshi and Dennis Breakwell. Listen, Raymond, people tell me that you were a very, very able and talented left-arm spinner. Do you think you could do a good job for England?
Yeah, I would have loved a chance, John. Don, obviously, yeah. I mean, I would have backed myself. I did. I had 3 test trials, of course, as you know. I played my first test trial was against Tony Lewis' side that had come back from Pakistan, I think it was, or India. Jeff Boycott didn't go on the tour, nor did John Snow. So I was playing for the rest, and both Boycott and John Snow were playing for the rest. So we're fielding, and we go out, and John Lever's playing, takes 3 wickets in about 5 overs, bowled superbly. Finished up with 5, I think, in the innings. And when they were struggling for runs, I thought an ideal time now for the slow left arm for me to come on and have a bowl to, feel my way in. But my captain, Ray Illingworth, he decided he would bowl, surprisingly. So he got his maidens in. And then eventually I came on. Of course, by that stage, they're looking to hit, and I got hit around quite a bit. In fact, Graham Roop got 100 that day. And I probably cemented his place in the England side for a little while. So I wasn't bowling particularly well. And all of a sudden it changed. I got a hat-trick. And when I tell you probably 3 of the greatest all-rounders to play for England.
Go on.
Pat Bocock, Bob Cottam.
Yeah, right.
And I eventually got Rupee out. And David Lloyd caught 2 of them at backward square leg. So that was a hat-trick. So I've come off the field with a hat-trick, thinking, oh, that's brilliant. So I'm rooming with JK, and the Daily Telegraph is pushed under a door, and I pick it up and open the back pages there, and it says, East takes hat-trick in test trial by E.W. Swanton. 6 columns. I looked through all 6, and I wasn't mentioned once. So I said to JK, I said, that's great, isn't it? I said, I've taken a hat-trick and I'm not even mentioned once. He said, oh, I don't know. Well, he said, let's go down for breakfast. So we went down to breakfast, the lift doors open, and there, standing in front of us, is the chairman of Selectors, one of the brothers.
The Bedser brothers.
The Bedser brothers.
Oh.
So standing in front of me is the chairman, Alec, yeah? So I said, good morning, Eric. How is Alec today then? And he said, good morning, Roy. Good morning, Peter.
Roy Easton, Peter
Lever. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So I said to JK, he doesn't even know our name. I said, how are we going to win that? But
there you go.
yeah. So
And people do say that you were a phenomenal left-arm spinner. Raymond, bit of a delicate one, this one. Do you think being a bit of a comic occasionally cost you?
yeah, I think it probably did, yes. Overhearing people at Lord's when I first, I overheard a well-known Lord's dignitary in cricket. Fletcher and I arrived early for the game against Middlesex, and I heard him. He's being attended to by the physiotherapist, and the physio said, "Who are you playing today?" And he said, "Oh, we're playing Essex." He said, "Fletcher's lot." Oh yes. He said, "Yes." He said, "I think they've got some bowler called East." He said, "I don't know what school he went to at all, but so I think there was a little bit of that. There was a little bit of that. But Don, I honestly couldn't have played the game any differently.
Yeah, no.
I was one of these people who, on the field, and it was none of mine was planned. It just happened. I switched on every time the ball was bowled. When the bowler was walking back, I'd have a chat with the crowd, but I switched on again when the ball was bowled, and that's the way I was.
I think your teammates wouldn't have wanted it any other way either. Very popular man. You talked about festival cricket, and we talked just off air about the great Surrey team, and we used to call them the Brown Hatters and the Red Hatters. Festival cricket. You got a lovely story about Ilford.
Well, I've got two actually, Don, very quick ones. We were playing Surrey, as it happened, and a lad called Mike Edwards was batting for Surrey. Nice chap, Mike. And I'm bowling at him, and I was just about to come up to bowl. I got him in delivery stride, and if you know Ilford, there's a main road is right by the ground, isn't it? And there's an horrendous bang as this lorry backfired. And I'm in my delivery stride, and I went, ah, and just I fell to the ground as I'd been shot. And everybody wondered what's going on. And poor old Mike Edwards, he was having a bad run, and he said, "Eastie, don't do that to me again, please." So that was interesting, people laughed, some didn't. But also, we were playing Lancashire once again on a festival wicket. Ilford was normally a good wicket, but normally quick. And Ken Shuttleworth in his day played for Lancashire.
Yeah, remember him.
He was quick. He played for England. He was quick enough for tail-enders like me. Anyway, he's taken the second new ball, the wicket's gone, and I'm going in. Don't forget, this is no helmets, right? And being a left-arm spinner, I was a target. For all the quick bowlers, let Eastie have it as soon as he comes in, because I couldn't bowl one back. So I get there and I pass Ken Shuttleworth as I'm going to the wicket. And as I passed him, I said, "Ken, this is a lively, quick wicket, bouncy." I said, "Pitch it up, bowl it straight, and you can have my wicket." So he grunted, because he never smiled, Ken. He grunted and he went back to his mark. And he steams in and he bowls this straight half volley at me, and I smash it straight back past him for four.
Well, that's not in the script.
And he's standing there, you can imagine, swearing. And so he walks back to his mark, and I mean, it didn't take much working out what was going to come next. So he lets his ball go, and I'm already diving. I've thrown my bat away, I'm diving as he bowls this bouncer goes straight through the keeper. And all the Lancashire boys wet themselves. And they said that was the only time they ever saw Ken Shuttleworth laugh on the cricket field.
Really,
Yeah.
really. Well, you played with your family and the likes of we've done a recent interview with Kenny McEwen, who was voted Essex's greatest ever overseas player, listen, that's an incredible achievement when you got the likes of Keith Boyce. Yeah. Tell me about Boyce.
Well, thankfully we had Boise, because when John Player League was introduced, he was the only one who got any bonus money for us because he took wickets and runs. But I mean, look, Keith Boyce was great for Essex. He was a fantastic all rounder. I mean, when you think,
how did he come across? I mean, why did they sign him? Where did he come from?
the recommendation, I think, to Trevor Bailey. Somebody recommended him to Trevor, from Barbados.
Yep.
And I remember his first game. It was against Cambridge University. It was freezing cold, and he was obviously from Barbados. He didn't think much of this. He bowled with a long sleeve sweater on, and he steamed it. Because the one thing about Boise was he 100%, right? I mean, he was somebody who. He could bowl you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 balls and over. He did have a no ball problem. But he was somebody who could run 100 yards boundary, turns, throw it straight over the top, bullet arm. He could hit balls, biggest sixes you've ever seen. Close to the wicket, he was a fantastic fielder. He probably smoked about 40 fags a day and drank a bit of rum. So he was a natural athlete, really. Fitted in well with Essex. But this game at Cambridge, I think he got 6 for straight off the plane and bowled in freezing cold conditions. But he was a great lad as well, great team man.
There was a great story emanates from Tunbridge Wells. When you were, I think, batting with Kenny McEwen.
I was batting with Ken McEwen. He was about 120 not out, and I was facing the last over before tea against a West Indian called Aldine Baptiste. Lively bowler, could probably hit you on the head, he was quick enough. Anyway, he bowls this ball to me, and umpiring was Jackie Van Geloven, a real character, Yorkshireman, played for Leicestershire. Lovely, lovely man, Jackie. We had great fun with Jackie. Anyway, he bowls me this ball, and I go to flick it over mid-wicket, and he gets a big leading edge, and it spirals up about 15 foot to mid-wicket. So it's gone 20 yards and 15 feet in the air. And Graham Johnson catches it. And I thought I'd have a bit of fun here. So I pat the wicket down and walked back to take guard again. And Jackie Blow said, "What are you doing, lad?" I said, "Sorry, Jack, it was a bump ball, wasn't it?" I mean, it could never have been a bump ball. I said, "A bump ball, Jack, it can't be out." He said, "That's not a bump ball, you're out, get off, and tea." So I walked off with my pads on, went into the pavilion. The boys were having tea, and I sat there and I'm saying to our lads, "Did you think it was a bump ball?" And they're going, "I don't know." And I turned round to the Kent boys and said, "Sorry lads, I thought it was a bump ball." And I could hear Jackie Van Geloven on the umpire's table going, "Of course it wasn't a bump ball. He was out, wasn't he? He was out." The other umpire said, "Of course he was, Jack." So I go down to the changing room, which is down underneath the pavilion, downstairs at Tunbridge Wells was. And Fletcher's sitting there, and I said, "Fletch, I've got Jackie Van Geloven going here. I'm going to go out again with David East's green hat on." He just said, "Do what you want to do." He said, "You're mad, do what you..." So out I went with Ken McEwen. After tea, with the green hat on. David East's green hat, not my blue one.
Yeah.
Kent boys, they knew what was happening. But the crowd hadn't got any idea. So I walked to the wicket. I'm standing at the non-striker's end because we've crossed. Ken's about to face. Aldine Baptiste starts his runner. And suddenly I'm thinking, "Oh, Christ, what will happen here now if he bowls it?" So I turned to Jack, because I was not saying, and I said, "It's all right then, Jack, if I have another knock." He went, "Christ, it's you, you're out. Get out. Get off this field." That's a true
really?
story.
You couldn't do that today.
I don't think you could do that today. No.
Brilliant. You went on and in your career that didn't win anything for quite a while, Raymond. No. But then came 1979.
Fantastic year, wasn't it? It's got to be a highlight of my life. To win the double. Well deserved. The big game was, in the championship, was Hampshire, of course. We went down to Bournemouth.
Another festival ground.
Big crowd. They were top, we were second. And I was with Norbert Phillip. I was taking him to the ground, and the young lad, Mike McAvoy from Colchester, played for us, playing one of the first games. So I drive and get to the ground, and first time we met Malcolm Marshall was on the way. I said to Norbert, "You were in India with Malcolm Marshall."
As in Norbert Phillip.
Norbert Phillip, yeah. So we get to the ground, and we're doing our fielding practice as we did. We were keen on our fielding. And suddenly people started dropping catches. And I thought, what's the matter? And we looked over and there he was warming up, Malcolm. And he was wanging these balls into the wicketkeeper. So we all decided to go back to the dressing room. So we went back to the dressing room and Fletch came in and said, I've won the toss, lads. And we went, oh, God, no. We've got to bat against him. But I put them in. We went, oh, yeah.
Well done, Captain.
Yeah. Ackland said, oh, jolly well done, Keith. Well done. Good decision. But unfortunately for us, I say, Lever took 7 for 30 and bowled him just after lunch.
Did he really?
Yeah. So it's come to our turn to bat. Normally we didn't bother. You know, we had Fletch, we had Kenny, we had Brian Hardy, we had a strong batting lineup. And of course the great man was playing in the corner and he's putting on his side pad, his pads, wristbands, England wristbands, arm guard. It was when he said, I think I'll wear the helmet today. That Gucci put the fear and Ackers actually got hold of my hand and went, oh my God. So out he goes with Michael McAvoy, playing one of his first second games. And Marshall. It was the first time, Don, I reckon, in all my years, that every single person was looking out the window to see this Malcolm Marshall go back.
Yes.
And he went back quite a long way. In fact, Stuart Turner said, where's he going? I haven't been that far on my holidays. So, and the great man taking first strike.
Graham Gooch.
Graham Gooch. Fantastic man. And Bluchener was a bumper to Gucci and he just flicked it off his legs down the long leg. Sauntered down the other end as he did, you know. Took off his left glove. Dobbed the bat in as though he said in as he got to the other end. Right? McAvoy. Now, why he bothered to look round the field, I don't know. He was an educated boy, Cox Royal Grammar School, because the only person in front of the bat was a short square leg. All the rest were behind, the slips and leg slips. But he had to look round anyway. And second ball, he got out. I think it hit him and rolled onto the stump, so he's out.
Right.
Bowled naught. That's when Ackers got hold of my other hand. So it finished up the day. We were in front. Gucci was out, but we were in front, about 3 or 4 down. And Lever got 7 wickets, and I said to him, look, us bowlers ought to go out and have a drink tonight. The fact that I'd not bowled a ball got nothing to do with it. So we went out and had a drink, but nothing stupid. And it came to our turn, obviously we were batting, and we lose 3 quick wickets. And number 8's got his pads on. That's me. Well, Christ. I was built like a Michelin man. I really was.
Everything on.
Everything was on. And all of a sudden said, he's out, Eastie, you're in. I went, oh my God, where's me back? Give me back. I got me back. Give me back. Got my bat. And out I went. And just as I walked down the steps, I heard Fletch say, we need as many runners as we can get, Eastie. Show some guts for a change. I thought, I was not having my guts if I can help it. So out we went, and I'm taking guard. And under the hat is David Constant, Test match umpire.
Yeah.
And he is wetting himself laughing.
Yeah. He's quite a funny man, wasn't he?
He was a funny man. So I said, could I have 2 legs, please, David? He said, come away from the square leg umpire, Easton. I might be able to give you a card. So thank you very much. So in he comes, right? And he all he had to do was pitch it up straight, and I reckon he'd have bowled me. He would have bowled me. And he bowls me a short ball. It went past my nose. I didn't see it. I smelt it. It was leather. It went past, and I heard it thud against the wicketkeeper's gloves, right? And he's standing about 2 yards. He's followed through. So he walks back and he steams in again. Another short ball, and I nick that. And it goes down to Nigel Cowley. Remember Nigel?
Yes, Dougal Cowley.
Yeah, umpire. I don't know if he's still on there.
Yeah.
And straight into him. It went through his hands. And he was a mate of mine as well. It went through his hands, hit him in the private parts, and they carried him off. And I'm standing there shaking. And I was the one who should have been going off. So anyway, I survived. How I survived the end of the over, I don't know. Because down the other end was the man who was upset him. Really upset him. Brian Hardy, 120 not out.
Because of the way he plays?
Well, he'd hooked him. He'd hooked him over first slip, over second slip, over fly slip. And then he pitched it up and smashed it through the covers. Yeah, Brian upset him. But the end of the story is we put on 147, if you look up Wisdom. And that won the match for us. Yeah. But I never faced another ball from Malcolm Marshall.
In your career?
No, in that match.
In that match?
Oh, Christ, yeah. He hit me under the armpits at Chelmsford many years later. And the bruise was there for about 2 months.
You just mentioned a chap there, Brian Hardy. A lot of people think of Graham Gooch, Keith Fletcher, the great icons of Essex cricket, and people occasionally forget about Brian Hardy. For me, he was very much a Mr. Essex because he played all the time. But a lot of those great West Indians, Marshall, Sylvester Clarke. Years ago, I remember talking to Sylvester Clarke, and he would say that Brian Hardy was a difficult man to bowl because he was so. He wasn't an MCC coaching manual.
No.
He used to flay the ball. His technique was just so different. Would you agree?
Yep. When we first saw him at the Zets, so he comes down from Scotland, we thought, no, this chap he can't play. But he had a way about it, as you say, and anything wide the stumps he would go after, and he did. And I don't know what he get, 25,000 first class runs, something like that. But his great value as well was close to wicket. Oh, fantastic! The best I've ever seen. The best I've ever seen. When you think I used to bowl, and as soon as I came on to bowl, Fletch would be silly point, and he would be short square leg the other side. And those two between them.
Definitely.
Took many catches for me. Very brave.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Football.
And there was a particular. He used to practice, and we used to talk to him as a member of our dressing room about the technique, and he used to practice a particular technique. He was fantastic. Not just brave, but he could sense when the ball the percentage wise has got a chance coming to him. He was awesome. Very much not a forgotten, but somebody that's not often mentioned in that Essex great side.
Yeah, he certainly should have been, because he was a great bowler. Great bowler.
Raymond, so you then enjoyed the success of 79.
Yes.
A double.
Yeah.
Kenny McEwen remembers a lot about the final at Lord's.
I mean, as I say, that was probably the highlight of my career, going out to a crowded Lords where 90% were Essex followers. I mean, Gucci and Mike Dennis went out to bat, and the roar, it was just incredible. Hair stood the back of your neck, and of course we were fortunate in the respect that Sylvester Clarke was not fit to play
In the final.
Yeah, I mean, we still think we'd won, but it's a big blow.
Small bonus, that, isn't it?
It was a big bonus, really.
Yeah.
But there again, I mean, Gucci was fantastic. Yeah. Kenny was fantastic. Fletch got runs, and even though we got I think it was 290, we still had to do it.
The double came in that fantastic season of 79.
Yeah.
There were some near misses, or do you think suddenly Essex became a really super team? And what do you put it down to? I mean, was the captain influential in that, or was it a lot of players grew with their potential and peaked at the same time? What would you put it down to?
I think it's both. I think the captain, he did a fantastic job, and he got better and better, if that was possible, in his job. And we peaked. We all peaked at a certain time, and Fletch had installed in you a belief in your ability. There are times I used to come up and bowl, and he'd sit there at silly point and Hardy full square leg to Viv Richards when he came at the bat. And I'm thinking, good God, But Fletch just said, get on and bowl. He had absolute trust in his bowlers. Absolute trust.
Interesting, that psyche. There would be some bowlers, if you're bowling at good players and you put them, and you've got attacking fielders around the bat, they naturally feel, I don't know what the word is, naked from the point of view that there are less fielders out in the ring, which you become vulnerable and you probably don't have that confidence. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I mean, people said to me, what was it like bowling at Viv Richards? Well, nobody expected me to get him out. That was my philosophy. I would, try, but basically I was on a loser.
Yeah.
Although, I was trying to get him out, but I don't think many people expected East to bowl Richards out too many times. In fact, I didn't, but I did get him a couple of times. And I think any sort of top batsman came in to bat, I thought, well, people might not fancy me getting him out, but on wickets of returning in my pump, I didn't care who I bowled at. I got 15 wickets in a match at Leighton in the late 60s. We lost the match, by the way, against Warwickshire. And Rowan Canai, great
Yes,
West Indian
yes,
batsman,
yeah.
playing for Warwickshire. I got him for 0-1. And when he walked off past me, he said, "I'll see you at Edgbaston." He got 150 because it was one of these wet wickets.
Yeah.
Uncovered pitches.
Which the spinners came into their own.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the modern day cricketer don't really appreciate the real honesty about wet wickets. Tell us a bit more.
Well, I mean, they were wet. Obviously, sun got on them. Footholds.
So,
Were-
invariably, would you find you're batting first because you want to bat on the
Yeah.
dry wicket? You want to bat on the dry wicket.
Yes.
So, in those days, you would look to bat first.
Yeah, because then if it rained overnight,
Yep.
uncovered. And obviously, quick bowlers couldn't stand up, so they couldn't bowl.
Yeah, generally couldn't
Generally
stand up.
couldn't stand
Just
up.
like the clubs, sometimes you see it in club cricket.
Load sawdust down for us, and they gave you the new ball, and I bowled with the new ball.
Did you?
Yeah, and I didn't like it that much, but couldn't grip it that well. But
Because the ball was hard. Did you
well,
find
it was
it had
shiny.
the odd?
It was shiny, and,
And it was a bit greasy and So it would naturally turn because it was a wet wicket.
Oh, crikey. Well, and also you learn how to bowl on those type of wickets because the thing was that you bowled them quicker. That's why Underwood was such a great bowler.
Yeah,
Because it pitched.
yeah,
If you bowled it too slow, it pitched and they
were able
could
to
adapt to it.
yeah.
But
And Essex in those days had three quality. You were one of three quality spinners. David Ackfield, an off spinner, so he
top bowler.
if majority of batsmen are right-handed, David Ackfield would turn it in, you would turn it away, and then you'd have the wrist spinner of Robin Hobbs.
Yeah. Well, David and I complemented each other. Not being unkind, I was prepared to take more of a chance. I'd give it a bit more air. David bowled it flatter, straighter, and you really, you had.
Well, you need containing bowlers as well in any team.
Yeah, I mean, he got 800 wickets, didn't he? I mean, I think we complemented each other, and I think we were a good pair. Robin started playing obviously before us. Leg spinner, as you know, is probably the hardest art in cricket. Bowl leg spinners, and he was a very good bowler as well. So, and basically because of the shortage of players we had on the staff in those days, we did play three spinners quite a lot. Because Fletcher was in the test matches, Hobbsy had to captain, he was vice captain. So who was he going to leave out, me or Acker? So we finished up playing three spinners quite a lot.
Really phenomenal that to think when you compare that to today. And of course you sort of all came from different backgrounds.
Very much so. I mean, David, Cambridge University, Brentwood School, Cambridge University, Ray East Burgolt Secondary Modern School, went to Cambridge on my holidays occasionally. But Ackers and myself, not only were we a tandem out in the field bowling, but we roomed together, which is unlikely, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got a public school boy and a secondary modern school boy, but David, I think people might know, he's a twitcher, a great bird watcher and bird lover, and we roomed together for many years. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, David would be getting up to go bird watching. At 6 o'clock, I was coming in having done mine. So we got on quite well. No, it's not quite like that, but yeah, but
Lovely.
yeah, it worked well as a tandem.
It was a great family, and we talked about your early captain, your Brian Taylor as well, and Keith Fletcher. But not to take it away, you were also a captain at Essex. When Fletcher was away, you were his deputy for a number of seasons.
Well, I was senior pro, vice captain. Yeah.
And proud of that.
Oh, crikey, yeah. I mean, one of my proudest moments of cricket was to captain Essex against the Australian tourists at Chelmsford when Fletcher was injured, didn't play. And Rodney Marsh captained Australia. That was a great moment.
Wonderful.
But I did have, against the West Indies, I had a bit of a nightmare because I lived at Twickenham in those days.
Did you?
Yes.
That must have been a big journey.
It was a big journey, but I decided to come by train this time. Got on at Liverpool Street as we're coming into Chelmsford. I started to get my bag out, and people were looking at me, and I found out as he whooshed past Chelmsford Station that it went to Colchester.
But it didn't stop.
No. So when I got back, I charged round to the ground, and the bell had gone, and we were fielding. So I went up and said, "Well, Fletch, obviously I'm not here." He said, "I've named you in the squad. You're playing." So I had to go up. But yeah,
Wow. Gosh. Well, listen, Raymond, we're slowly coming towards the end of this interview. It's been lovely, but I've got to ask you about a couple of things. Firstly, who was the greatest batsman and the greatest bowler in your mind who you played with?
greatest batsman without a shadow of doubt, Graham Gooch. Goochie, in my opinion, which is my opinion, is the best opener England have had since the war, without a shadow of doubt. And a lot of that's based on he went through that torrid time that England had against the West Indies when he stood up.
Yes.
He was the one player who stood up, not just defended, but he took them on. And I don't know whether he's just seen the replay of the Headingley game against West Indies where he got that 150 carries back.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just a fantastic batsman, a fantastic team man for Essex. I mean, loved playing for Essex. Just and a great guy, but easily the best back.
And your bowler that you played with?
That's easy. Lever.
John Lever.
Oh, Jesus. I mean,
Go on.
Well, I mean, he was somebody. I mean, on quite a few occasions, he actually bowled from 11 till lunchtime,
Did he?
right the way through. Yeah. And when he first started, and he was a year after me, he couldn't bowl an in-swinger to a right-hander.
Really?
Everything was away.
That's amazing. I'm amazed to hear that because good left armers, you
Yeah.
have to swing it back in.
He couldn't bowl it his
Really?
first year, but then when he learned,
Amazing.
fantastic bowler.
Big heart.
Great heart. Never injured, Don. I mean, we talk about, Paul Rees. I feel so sorry for him, but hopefully he's back to fitness. But he was never injured, or if he was, he just carried on bowling. A couple of times he had an injection, I think. But fantastic team man, very funny man, of course. Another one of this Essex team, great camaraderie. Best envy of all the county championship.
Yep.
Great friends, every one of us. We had the odd tiff, obviously, but fantastic. But he stands out a mile.
And if we went around the world, who did you play against who, in your eyes, was just a magnificent batsman, the main man, both as a batsman, and who would you choose as a bowler?
I think that's harder, obviously. There's a lot more to choose from. Batsman, the two that stand out are the two Richards.
The two Richards.
Two Richards. And
Okay.
I would probably controversially pick Barry
Right.
as a more stylish.
Wow.
Viv was a fantastic player, obviously, could smash it everywhere. As the most stylish. I remember bowling at Barry Richards in a 40-over game, John Player League. And I used to have this field, which is a ridiculous field when you think about it now. I used to bowl to right-hand batsmen. We devised this, with 3 on the offside and 6 on the leg. And I used to bowl it leg stump. Yeah? And that was before you could get away. You could get away with the ball going down the leg side.
Yeah.
And Barry Richards, this is gospel truth, went that far back to leg stump that he hit me behind the wicketkeeper for 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I would choose him. The runs he got against us.
His name comes up often.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great shame that South Africa were out of the test scene when people didn't see enough of him.
And a bowler.
You could pick quite a few. Being a slow left armer with the ball whizzing around my head, could pick quite a few. But he wasn't just a bouncer boy. Malcolm Marshall.
Really?
Bowl it in, out.
Yeah.
100%er all the time. We never saw him not try against us. Came in every ball. Malcolm Marshall.
Blimey. Right.
Very sad that obviously he's not.
Yeah, absolutely. His name comes up often as well. Yeah. Wonderful, skillful.
Oh, yes.
Heart of the line. Yeah, absolutely. And a good man too.
Yeah, lovely man.
Raymond East, thank you so much for your time.